Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Studio W, The Buzz, your global radio network. We circle the globe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with some of the finest programs you can find anywhere around the world. And now, after a 2 week hiatus, I'm going to use that word today, we're back, okay? And hopefully you'll enjoy the show. In the meantime, please share this with your friends. You can go to your Apple App Store and download Studio W or your Android Play Store or Google Play Store and download Studio W. Available on the website and available on Alexa. And tonight we're on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And welcome to the set. Oh, and hello, Ann. How are you?
Hey, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. Man, 2 weeks ago, wow, we've been off for 2 weeks. Hopefully, you guys had a good
Wow.
time. Happy
Yeah,
anniversary to you, and congratulations to, uh, let's see, Alex for graduating.
yeah, yeah. Alex
Yes,
graduated, and thank you for the anniversary well wishes. We had a wonderful anniversary. Thank you.
wow, that's amazing. I remember, I think when Alex first came on with AJ, I think he was around 13. Was he 13 years old when he started?
AJ was 13 and Alex was 11 at the time, I think.
Whoa,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
wow,
It's been a
wow.
while. Uh,
And it doesn't seem like it was that long
yeah.
ago. 7 years. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, and you also said now he's going to school. Is he going to school? Is it in California? And your screen is frozen.
I think he's going to college at her alma mater, if my memory serves me correct.
Okay. And okay.
I think, but she'll come back and she'll correct us, so don't worry.
Uh, yeah. So Ann,
Can you
let's
hear
see. You
me?
have.
Hello?
I can hear you
There you
now.
are. There
Can
you
you?
are.
Okay, you can
Okay.
hear
You
me?
have.
All right. Sorry, guys. I don't know. I don't know if it's the storm or what, but anyway, it, it,
Could
it was
be.
just weird
The,
for a
the
minute. But
internet
no, yeah,
gods.
Alex just graduated, and well, I just look. I don't believe in them, so, but but I don't know what y'all heard me say. But yes, Alex graduated on the 21st, so we've got both of them out of high school now. They both go back to school. Well, AJ goes back to school. Alex starts his new school in August. So we already bought his plane ticket. So uh, it's more than a notion. So
So and
William was asking where he's going to go to school. I think he mentioned California, but I don't
no,
think that's
it's
correct.
Arizona, Phoenix,
Arizona.
the
Wow.
Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences. So he's going to an audio engineering school. So that's where we went in March when we were on vacation for spring break. We went and did a tour of the school, and it's really awesome. We got to step inside a real music studio where they record live music. We got to see how they teach the students how to add the audio into commercials. So they have to deconstruct the commercials and then add the audio back in, you know, perfectly, and of course add in the sound effects and whatnot. It was awesome. They had a simulated live um, um, performance stage. So, when you're outdoors and you go to an outdoor concert, they had one of those simulations out there where you
Mhm.
actually got to sit in on a class, a little bit of it, where the professor was teaching them how to adjust for stuff like wind and rain and other sounds that are outside, but so that they can still make the the uh, the experience coming from the stage the best quality sound for the people in attendance. So I mean, it's a really good school. Apparently, it's the best school for audio engineering. They had a couple of students who donated their Oscars, their Grammys and Oscar to the school as just loaning them to them, so that the other students can see it, and of course people thinking of coming to school could see it. I never thought I'd see a Grammy and an Oscar in real life, but I got to see it. So anyway, that's where he's going. He's going to school in Phoenix. Technically, Tempe is where the school is, but you know
Hmm.
how it is when you have those suburbs that are right outside of a city. So
Right.
yeah, but
That
it's
sounds,
beautiful.
that sounds pretty exciting.
It is. I was pleasantly surprised. I saw the stuff. I'm like, I never heard of this. And anyway, it's an awesome program. If you want to do audio engineering, that's the
Wow.
school you go to for
Being in radio, and Mike does a lot of gigs himself.
it. Mhm.
Uh, man, I'm excited for him, Mike.
I am too. Look, he's not the only one going. Wendell's going with them.
Wow.
And one of the other guys from Teens Talk Truth at the graduation, they announced that he was going to the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences too. Alex is like he doesn't know if the guy's actually going to go. He wants to go, but his parents don't want him to go that far. But apparently, that's what was listed when he graduated. So three of the teens from Teens Talk Truth are enrolled at that school. So,
Um, that is some cool stuff. Wow,
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
wow, 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 wow. I wish that was available. I'm sure it probably was, but I wasn't even aware. Didn't even think I'd ever be in radio.
yeah.
But Mike, man, I would love to have had that experience.
Hey, when I grow up, I want to go there.
Well, you're not. Look, you're much closer to it than my kids are. And,
It's
it's
down the
almost
street
Yeah.
from me.
right, and it's a comprehensive. Not well. It's a 1 year program, so you don't have to. Like you do at a regular college, you have to take your electives and all that. No, it's just strict in audio engineering for 9 months. And
Focused, very focused.
yes, and to complete the program, you have a 3-month internship. And a lot of the places where you can have internships are, guess what, Mike, in California. So it'll work out really good for you if you decided you
You can
want to do
roll
that.
over here. We'll do gigs
Man,
together. Not a problem.
Right,
I'm
right.
excited for him. I'm really excited for him. So after he completes the program, then what?
Well, most of the students end up working for the company they intern for.
Hmm.
So Alex wants to, uh, and let me just say, when I say the company they work for, you have people who deal with the music industry, people who deal with the movie industry. Um, um, Alex wants to work with video games in the video game industry because that's where his heart lies. So,
Mhm.
um, and wherever they have a contract and they have contracts with a lot of people in the industry since they're the premier school for that, that's where you end up. So
Wow.
apparently a lot of gaming has been taking place, moving to rather
Mhm.
Texas. So Lord willing, he'll get an internship in the Texas
Mm.
area. So we don't have to worry about going to Silicon Valley or something like that.
Right, right, right.
Um, for
That's
an
that's pretty cool.
internship. But yeah, they have internships all over the country.
That
For
sounds so cool.
that.
That means Alex gonna be making money by the time he's 19.
Yeah, praise the Lord.
Buy mom and dad a house. He can work for Hollywood.
Look, you
Wow.
buy him a house as long as he gets a house for him and his family, and he can take care of they can take care of themselves.
Oh
We've
no, take
done
care of
what we're
mom and dad
supposed to do.
first.
Oh, that's
But
so
mom
cool.
and dad are we know we're blessed. We got
Very good.
everything we need,
Very cool.
and
Very
we
good.
don't need them to take care of us financially. Like God's already done that.
Right,
But
right, right.
so it's our job and our prayer that we've done our part and are doing our part to set them up to be able to take care of
Right.
themselves and their families. Lord willing, they'll be able to do that without having to worry too much about asking for help. If they do ask for help, that's fine because we needed help too when we were starting out. But
Mhm.
the whole point is to help them be able to live a life, especially since they're males, heads of their household, so that they can take care of themselves, their wives, their children, if and be self sufficient if if at all possible. If
Mhm.
they need us,
Right,
obviously
right.
we'll be there. But Lord willing, they're being set up so that they can be the heads of the household that they were supposed to be.
Well,
Nice.
you
I
know,
was reading. I was reading something recently where, in theory at least, that each generation should stair step above the
right.
past generation. So my parents did okay, and I'm supposed to do better, and my children are supposed to do better, and so on.
Amen.
Each generation is supposed to do better. It doesn't
Mhm.
always work that way, but
Yeah.
in theory at least.
Mhm,
Right, right.
mhm.
That's what good parents hope, and that's what a society should strive for, to
Yes.
make
Absolutely.
everything better for the next generations.
Well, I have to say that I know firsthand that they have wonderful parents, and with you
Oh,
guys,
praise the Lord.
they're going to be great. I'm already
Yes,
excited
Lord.
because I know that they're going to be successful. I just feel it in my gut.
Amen. We
Great
trust the
job,
Lord for
Ann and
that. Amen.
Andre.
Oh,
Great
thank
job.
you. Thank you. And thank you guys for being so supportive of our kids. I appreciate, everything you guys have done to be kind and supportive in their endeavors, especially here at the radio show, and when they call for last minute help with something.
Right, right.
Thank you guys for always being kind to them.
Well, they are wonderful young men now. And
Deserve it.
Yes.
yeah,
They
absolutely.
Yes.
deserve it.
And that shows you the value of great parents, great parenting,
Yes.
doesn't it?
Yes.
Wow. You know,
It
I
it
just,
shows you the power of praying for wisdom and,
hey,
and guidance, and just because I think every child has slightly different needs from the other. There's certain things that you have to do that's standard. They need food, they need clothes, they need a roof over their head, that type of
right.
thing. But their needs, from one kid to another, differ slightly after that. I was just thinking about Alex earlier today, and ever since he was a baby, music has been the thing, that he
Mhm.
loved. He, singing him a song would always help him learn whatever he had to learn. He figured it out lickety spit if it was set to music. And the first time he was watching a cartoon, and there were things in the cartoon that he just wanted, and he looked at me in the eye. It said, "I need train. I need tuba." I'm like, you cannot produce enough wind for a tuba, but he wanted a tuba that badly. Because, and his two favorite cartoons were, well, actually three. It was The Little Einsteins, which is all about art appreciation, including music. And he wanted to be the little boy who was the conductor, or the little boy Quincy, I think his name was, who can play every instrument. And those are his two favorite characters. And then
So
he loved, say what?
so I was going to mention here, everything you just mentioned there leads me to believe my brother Warren, who recently passed, would always say you can be a leader or a follower. And
Hmm.
everything you just mentioned denotes him as being a leader, not a follower.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
I
That
agree.
is great stuff.
You
The I don't know if you guys have heard of the Backyardigans, but it's an incredible cartoon. It's one of my
Have I ever?
favorite Nickelodeon things. Nickelodeon ones, but they were little kids who played in the backyards. Actually, they were just kid animals playing in the backyard, and they used their imagination. And part of what they did was sing the whole time. So that was his other favorite show, and his last one were the Bubble Guppies, and they sang a lot too. So
Mhm.
he's always been creative when it comes to music. I always loved that side of creativity, and um, he's always had a penchant for story writing.
Mm.
So the fact that he's
it's
wants to
left
write.
brain, right brain.
Right, right. So the fact that he's right, his goal is to write video games, and of course the
Mm.
music for the games, is it's just classic Alex. He's been showing all that since birth, basically,
Good
since he
stuff.
was able to express what he likes. So yeah, but thank you,
Right.
Mike. That was very kind of you to say. I thank God for gifting them, the way that he has, and for making a way for their gifts to be realized. It's a blessing to watch them become who they're supposed to be.
That is
You
amazing. That
you and
is
Andre have fostered that as well. You promoted that.
absolutely.
You encouraged them, and you said, "Go, go,
Mhm.
follow your dreams. Have a backup plan, but follow your dreams."
Amen.
Um,
Amen.
I'm
Mhm.
smiling. I'm smiling. I'm so happy. I am
Yeah,
so
me
happy for them.
too. Me
I know
too.
you are. That is
Yeah.
so cool. And I tell you, speaking of, you mentioned music and you mentioned video games, and
Mhm.
technology is absolutely incredible. We've been talking about AI. We talk about that a lot,
Oh,
which is
jeez.
absolutely amazing. And Mike and I on the Mad Mike and Wild Will Coast to Coast, we had two incredible artists. I mean, talented people on. We had one who is a fabulous, fabulous musician, and that was Keith J. Lampkins, and Keith plays the guitar and also the piano, and he uses AI for his vocals. These days, and he wants to move on from AI. But we heard some incredible music, and then we had Veronica and Brian, and Brian
Mhm.
is a brilliant, prolific writer. And he
Mhm.
uses AI for his music, but he writes all of his lyrics. And the
Mhm.
problem I have with AI in music, if people just come with an idea like do re mi and let AI write the entire thing, right?
Right, right,
Music and the lyrics together. But I can see using it if you have a talented individual that writes his own music or
right.
a individual that plays his own music, then I have no problems with incorporating AI
Me
that way.
either. I think
It's a
that's a
tool.
way
It's
to
a
help
tool.
them. Yeah.
It's a
For
Right,
tool.
people like that, I think it's a way to help them because you might never hear them otherwise, you know. They have
right.
the gift to write, but they can't sing, or they
Boy.
Yeah.
they have killing lyrics, but they
Mhm.
don't know how to do the music. You know, the music
Right,
arrangements.
right, right.
So I for those folks who are still using their own creativity, I think it helps.
Right.
And because we do stuff like that now, just
Mhm.
to a in a different way. But when you're just saying, "Oh, AI, create a song about X, Y, and Z," and letting it do everything,
No,
Yeah.
that's something totally different.
yeah, that's not talent. Well, just like and all three of us know the latest songbird, Jenda Harris. Now she's
Mhm.
using AI to help her with her videos, but we
Mhm.
know that her singing, that's her, right? And the
Right.
musician, and she uses musicians, right? And she just uses AI for videos. And I'm sure a lot of that has been going on longer than we've even thought about it or talked about it. And so I like that. So it was a great, great show. And Mike,
Mhm.
they've sent me some more music, so perhaps we can have them back on. I would. That was a
Oh,
fantastic
they're
show.
welcome anytime. Yeah, that was maybe one of the best shows we've ever done, William,
It was
because we
great.
had I think we had six of us on the screen at one time with the
Right.
different inputs and different talents and
Hmm.
abilities, and that was I'm not going to say it's the best show we ever did, but I'm telling you what, it was one of the best.
I agree. I agree. And so
Awesome.
like this might be the only time tonight we're going to agree on something. But
Now you're being negative, William. Why are you being so negative?
no, I'll take that back. I'll take that back. Oh, but and I tell you a couple of
Mm,
things I wanted. Mike texted me earlier, and he wanted to know, and I talked about it yesterday too, a little bit on you at the end of your program about the topic today. And I'm titling this "Smoke and Mirrors."
mm,
How much do we really know what's going on? Because uh, politicians in general, they will tell you one thing and don't look over here, look over there. And we really don't get the full truth. And that's Republican and Democrat. I go along with that. We
Yep.
can debate on a degree which one lies more, but that's okay because it does happen. Rarely, growing up, uh, I used to hear even from my parents, it's hard to believe anything these politicians say. They will court you. They will court you doing that process before they get elected. But then as soon as they are elected, then everything changes. You say, "Woman, that's not the guy I voted for." Yeah, okay. But anyway, before I get into it, yeah, smoke and mirrors. We're going to talk about the war, and we're also going to talk about the economy. But one thing we were talking about AI before. And that was a story that disturbed me. And I want you guys to see this because this is happening right next door to me in West Virginia. And let's see if we can pull this up. Let's see. Trade. Okay. Oh, nobody's talking about this one. Let's do this right now. Okay. Hey, guys, I want you to take this is really scary stuff right here. And not only scary, I mean, it's just absolutely just gross. Okay, let's take the mute off. Take a look at this sink.
And it's on both sides. There it is. There it got worse. Like the girls go take a shower and they started hollering saying, "Daddy, come look at this." I went and looked.
Yeah.
I said, "Golly, man." And turned on the hot water side. It was clear for about 5 minutes. Then it was the same way. But you want to know what? I would love. Look at that. Golly, man. Look at that.
Yeah, you need a filter. That looks like urine.
I would love for somebody
or chicken
from
soup,
the
one or the other.
county or somebody come down and I like for you to drink it. That's what I want you to do. Drink it. See how you like it.
Right.
That's disgusting. That's a brand new well, $11,000 well that me and my grandmother had to get drilled here, and now 5-6 years later we got to deal with this. Is that normal? That is not normal.
This is what is currently going on right now within the state of West Virginia. And guys, this is happening all over the entire country right now. So speaking many, varying areas. It's not every single person dealing with this. However, certain communities are furious right now to speak because of this. And a lot of people are pulling it back and pushing it back and saying, hey, this is due to massive data centers that are being implemented within certain communities. I mean, the list goes on. Of course, you got water supply, sewer system. I mean, you can point the finger many different directions. However, one thing that we know for sure that has been causing this as of recently, especially in states like Georgia, especially in states like Kentucky, I even saw it down in Louisiana as well, Texas. I mean, the list goes on. We know it's because of these massive data centers. Now, West Virginia currently has a lot of, micro data centers is what they call it, or small operational data centers. They are in the production of a massive data center, right? Which is a multi-billion-dollar data centers that are developing within the areas across the state. So we know what is coming to the state and, what is actually about to, be in fruition in the future. However, currently, we know based off of how you vote and how you support, the politicians within your area who care about the environment. We know this is what the state actually looks like in terms of, what percentage. I mean, completely red, right? The entire state basically came out and supported for the Republican Party. And I can only imagine that trickled down into the state's election as well. That is the presidential election. I'm sure the state's election looked very, very identical. However, this is another perspective of what is going on right now within the state. This is my first time hearing about this story. That's why we're covering today. It's actually going to blow your mind.
Holy shit. I've never seen anything like that. The DEP's been known to stretch the truth a little bit. Looks like a scene out of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
They said they cleared the drain out, and now about 5 miles up the road, all the stream's contaminated.
Hey, wait.
Yeah.
Oh.
First thing came to mind was, hey, we need to get a hold of DEP. They said, hey, we're going to send our guy out all day yesterday. It was me and a few other people out, none of them. Midnight, we were out taking samples, and we seen the dead wildlife. We seen everything moving downstream.
It's a mess.
Is it?
See the acid mine drainage guys? Railroad did not cause this.
When you say the railroad, what do you mean, Richard?
They're trying to blame the railroad was messing with the culvert down here, and that's why it started coming out. But as you can see, it's coming out at the top. That's all acid mine drainage right there. Look at this.
Holy.
Look at that. I've never seen anything like that. Now, how in the world did they mess with the culvert cause all this? That's not coming from the culvert. That's coming from a mine. It's coming out all down through here. I grew up in these woods. Everybody else has grew up in these woods. They've never seen anything like this.
Grew up, born and raised in Martin County, Kentucky. But we had a big slurry spill. Since then, we don't have drinking water. The companies are doing damage to us. They'll probably settle with some of the families, kind of like Martin County did. Now we're drinking bottled water.
My theory is they're flooding all the abandoned mines for the rare mineral. And I believe that they're moving water around through old gas lines and making it circulate.
Based on my research from online, it is due to a lot of the runoff from the railroad system, and it's creating sediment from an abandoned mine or whatever case is, right? You also have a boil water notice, right? The town of Del Barton, they issued a boil water notice because it lacked the certified water operator, forcing the state to pull the operator's license. Now, as of May 2nd, they did say they begin to clear a lot of the turning orange and the concerns, but the concerns still remain, right? They cleared some of these protections, but it like the state knows and they are aware of what is going on. However, the problem seems like it's still persisting in certain areas.
Okay,
guys.
I'm gonna stop it right there because we've got more to get to today. But let's go around the horn here. This is absolutely, this is when greed, when man gets so greedy that we destroy our own lives, man. A lot of this, like I said, these data centers. Do we really need massive data centers that is hogging all of the energy, and actually the cost is passed on to us? I think if they're going to do this, number one, there should be some environmental protections, and they should pay for this. In a lot of areas, you hear that our power bills are going up because of these data centers. Well, if they're building these data centers, they're profiting from these data centers, then they should pay for these data centers and also protect the environment. Think about the wildlife. Is the wildlife
environment?
The environment. The animals they out there. They have to. What do they do?
What are they drinking?
What are we drinking?
What are they drinking? Because we can go to the store and buy bottled water, but the animals can't.
That's exactly
Our
right.
environment can't. Those trees, the foliage, the animals, the rabbits, the squirrels, the deer, and whatever else, they can't go to Stater Brothers, which is a supermarket, by the way, Anna. I'm sorry, because I know you're on the other side, East Coast, but they can't go to Stater Brothers and buy bottled water.
That's crazy. And what's your take?
I think everybody is sort of waking up. I saw something, I believe it was the other day, that said, Americans have turned on data centers seemingly overnight because we keep hearing these stories over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, on the Arkansas PBS news website, which is public broadcasting service. Most of us are familiar with PBS, but just in case, I thought I'd spill it. There is an article that was written on June 4th that says energy, water use, and pollution of AI and data centers rivals most countries. So the environmental footprint of data centers already rivals some of the world's largest countries, according to a United Nations university report, which also predicts their water and energy use and pollution will double in just 4 years as use of artificial intelligence grows. Last year, global data centers used 448 trillion watt hours of electricity, more than all but 10 countries of the world, said the report issued Wednesday. That electricity use produced about 280 million tons, 189 million metric tons of carbon dioxide, about the same amount as Argentina. And producing that much energy consumed about 1.2 trillion gallons or 4.5 trillion liters of water, according to the report on the environmental consequences of AI's energy use. By 2030, data centers will account for nearly 3% of the world's projected electricity use, with 935 trillion watt hours. If data centers were a country, the country would be projected to rank 6th highest in power use in 2030. That would produce nearly 440 million tons, 399 million metric tons of carbon dioxide, the report said. The study focused on energy use and didn't examine the massive amount of water used to cool data centers. So imagine what that would look like if they added in, you got to cool the data centers too. This is just the use of the water, not the cooling down of the data centers that also accompanies it. So I think I said it before the hiatus. I think artificial intelligence, if we don't stop it now, we're basically creating a perfect storm of events where you've got the artificial intelligence that's going to collide with climate change because of it's causing even more environmental pollution, which is gonna also affect what we do as human beings in our everyday lives, including how we deal with our jobs. So you got AI affecting that, you've got the environment affecting that, you've got the natural disasters that are going to be caused by all the climate change affecting that, and then that means you're also going to experience in some areas disasters like famine, other areas disasters like flooding. All of these things working together, and then adding that to the financial crisis, adding that to the political crisis that we have globally. These are all global issues, and all of them together are going to basically create a perfect storm where humanity's going to have a whole lot of problems that they're going to have to solve right here at the same time, because it's going to blow up all at the same time instead of handling them these little bitty things one at a time. We could have nipped climate change in the bud decades ago. We could have headed off these political headwinds that we're dealing with now. We could have learned our lesson early and decided, no, we don't really need artificial intelligence. It's sci-fi cool, but it's not necessary to life. But since we didn't do all those things, we're creating an environment where we're all going to cause a lot of suffering for a whole lot of people and the planet itself.
This is kind of how I see it. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But we live in our current society is a microwave society. We want what we want, and we want it now.
Exactly.
And we don't care what the long-term effects or costs are, because that we're just going to push that off on your children, my children, William's grandchildren, and it's it's just again, it's a microwave society. We want what we want, and we're not willing to wait for it. We're not willing to mitigate the long-term damages that are going to occur to society and our planet and our Mother Nature. Because I mean, we're not the only people. Aren't the only people living on this planet.
Exactly.
There's all kinds of organisms and life, plant life, and other not humanoid, but other animals of all kinds of different, that all live here too. And we have to, and we live in we should be living in harmony. And like I got to tell you a quick story here, but there's a little hole underneath my front door, and I live out in the hills of Redland. So I'm a mile out on a dirt road, and occasionally I get a rattlesnake that gets in with my horses and my dog and stuff. And I can't have that. I have to be careful of that because I mean, it's dangerous to my animals. So I dispatch those, because if I relocate them, they tend to come back.
Right.
And I have gopher snakes out here. I have all kinds of lizards and tarantulas and everything else. I don't mess with them at all. I recently had a gopher snake sneak underneath my door. It came in my house.
Wow.
And he went to my back porch and all. And you know what? I let him alone because they're not dangerous. They're not aggressive. And I just let him be. I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, so I don't know if he snuck back out or not. But those, there's a side of Mother Nature that you should not destroy because they're part of the ecosystem.
Right.
So I don't know where he is. I haven't named him yet, but he might be back here right now. I don't know. But
he would be a new property owner if it's me.
But I'm gonna leave him alone. Like I said, I haven't seen him. Maybe he snuck back out. But you know, they're good for the environment, and I'm not going to destroy things that are good for them. Even the rattlesnakes belong. We've encroached on their territory, not the other way around. So the only time I dispatch those is because it's a danger to my other creatures. But you leave Mother Nature alone, because you know, human nature, we mess up with Mother Nature. Mother Nature knows what she is doing, if I can categorize her as she. But Mother Nature is perfect in what it is doing. And we're the ones that mess things up. For instance, I'll go back to what I do. I have horses out here, and horses would graze all day long.
Mm-hmm.
They're a conveyor belt. So they would eat and eat and eat. So what was going in the front end was coming out the back end. It was a conveyor belt. And we human beings messed that up. We started force feeding them twice a day, every 12 hours. We go, here's a flake of hay. Eat your 10 pounds of hay. They eat about 10 pounds of hay a day. And what the problem is there is now you've created a lump in their stomach, in their intestines, that tends to make them colic. And the number one reason for horses dying is colic.
Really?
80 or 85% of horses die from colic because their bowels get impacted because we force feed them, because us human beings, we know what we're doing. We know more than Mother Nature. So we force feed them twice a day and they die from colic. So I feed my horses 3 times a day. I feed them 3 small meals a day instead of 2 big meals a day to eliminate them from getting colic and dying. I don't want my horses to die. So yeah, we human beings are very arrogant, extremely arrogant when it comes to Mother Nature and
absolutely,
our surroundings and such. So, okay, there's my speech.
Well, you know what? Yeah, we're so smart.
Aren't we? Aren't we?
You would think so smart. So smart is evident that humanity is dumb.
I'm telling you. Here, let me put my smart helmet on.
Right. Right.
Give me a second. I'll lick the windows.
Right. Hey, look.
You would think if we were so smart, we'd learn how to live in harmony with the rest of the planet.
Oh man.
I mean, but we're so busy trying to destroy. You know, I get,
or just not caring, not even trying to destroy, just not caring.
Well, and not only that, not accepting the fact that you're gonna have to share with everything else on this planet. We're so busy creating stuff to stop pesticides, or stop pests from creating pesticides to stop pests from eating crops and whatnot. It's like, well, you do understand they have to eat too. So and a lot of the food we produce is wasted, so perhaps they were just going to eat the part that we would have thrown out anyway. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how to live in balance with nature. We have to share the planet. I mean, there's nowhere else for us to go, just like there's nowhere else for them to go. We all were put here together. So the water supply is for all of us, for us as well as for the animal kingdom. The food supply, same thing.
Let me ask both of you a question. How much do you think greed plays into that?
100%.
I agree.
I'll agree with Dan, but I'll diminish it a little. I'll say 90%, because I think there's good people out there that are trying to do things the right way, but they're not listened to.
Okay, I can go along with that because we do have some good people out here. But I'm telling you what, the problem is, the minority, which happen to be the ultra wealthy, they are so doggone greedy that they will sacrifice any and all of us to get what they want. But this is the stupid part about it. If they take all of our jobs away, take our benefits away, and then we can't afford to buy their products, then what good is it?
Great question.
What good is it? Yeah, think about that. Because we take these data centers, AI, and we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of AI. But what I see so far is that AI, they're replacing jobs even as we speak, and that is growing at a rapid pace. That AI is just taking over, right? And so if you don't have, let's say we have 300 million people here in the United States, and let's say a great percentage of people lose their jobs, and things get so more expensive for people who have jobs that they can't afford to buy the products, then what are they really accomplishing? I think that the opposite would be true. If they were more, give people a living wage to work with, right? Give them the ability to afford housing and food, and maybe even take a trip every now and then, or whatever it is, then your industry can maintain because you will have the customer base that will be able to purchase your products. But right now, they're putting people out of work. So then you're creating another situation where you have increased homelessness. You have food shortages, things of that nature, And so I think that they man, we're so smart that we've gotten real stupid.
Aren't we?
We're real stupid with that. Yeah, absolutely. So now, and why are they building these massive data centers? What?
Because they need it for artificial intelligence. I mean, you need the data centers to support these big, huge, large language model programs that they're running.
The masses are demanding it because again, we're in the microwave society. People want what they want, and they want it now. They want to be able to access a computer, go online, and look at everything they want to look at. Hi, CC.
Hi, listen, I am so sorry. I thought William had me blocked out because I couldn't get in at all for about 20 minutes.
Why would I block you out, Dr. Sim?
I don't have a clue. Maybe you have an odd against me. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe I have what now? Repeat that.
That means
a little bit louder.
Me.
Well, I've been having issues with it. I mean, I've had issues with it since I've been on. So,
and AI is doing some trippy stuff, and I'm not up on it, and it's automatically doing it. So I gotta. I guess I have to buckle down. But anyway, hi everybody.
Hi, speak a little louder if you will. Yeah, we were talking about AI here a little bit, and we're talking about how a man has gotten so smart that we've really gotten stupid. With all of these data centers and things of that nature, AI taking over. And then if nobody can afford anything, then these manufacturers are going to go out of job. They are pricing themselves out of the market or pushing themselves out of the market. I saw something earlier. I didn't read the entire article about major firms right now going out of business. We see this every day. Major firms going out of business. And a lot of it has to do with, lack of jobs, AI. That was something I played on this show. I think it was over a year ago. And that was this store that was 100% AI. No cashiers, no nothing. No bagger, no. You walk in, you swipe your card, get what you want, and when you and then automatically it adds up everything that you pick up. Okay, using AI.
I do that before, William. Walmart is doing that. It's in another state, and the people got really upset because it meets them at the door. There's computers sitting there.
Okay,
and you can't get in unless you scan your card that you're going to usually pay for your items, but it has it so defined as soon as you pick it up off the counter, it charges you. But my thing is, what if you change your mind?
Right.
That's a great question. That is a great question. Hey, Dr. Sims, I need you to speak up a little bit because
get your microphone closer to your mouth or turn up your volume.
I just need to turn it up. Let me turn
it
up.
Turn it up.
Please do, because we want to hear what you got to say.
I will say that my boss and I were just talking about affordability. He was telling me that when he was young, he worked a job. Now that's when minimum wage was $8 an hour, but he had an $8 an hour minimum wage job, but he had his own apartment, he had his own car.
He could afford it.
He could afford to pay for it. I mean,
off $8, right?
Off $8 an hour, and he's just a few years older than I am. So the fact that you've got kids making double that for minimum wage and they can't afford to pay rent should tell you a whole lot about what life is like in today's society. That is crazy.
I think I started at $2.65 an hour back in the early 60s.
Yeah.
I was sweeping floors at a mom and pop grocery store and filling the bags and bagging groceries and sweeping everything up and cleaning the meat room and all that. But I think I started about $2.65 an hour. Cigarettes were 19 cents a pack, and gasoline, you only had two kinds of gasoline. You had regular and ethyl.
Right.
Wow.
And it was 16 cents for regular and 19 cents a gallon for ethyl. So that
Wow.
that
And
shows
now
you
we're
how
paying
old.
$4 a
Shows,
gallon.
that shows you how
Wow.
old I am.
No, it actually it shows you how fast inflation will catch up. Now think about this. Right now, I don't know what the average. I keep hearing it changes every day. That the average price of regular gas across the country is like $4.50. I think
Well,
it's
you
four
know, I really
fifty.
don't. I really do think the oil industry in the U.S. is disingenuous because
Mhm.
Andre,
Of course.
he watches it like a hawk. It's like 1 minute it'll be one price. You come back a
Mm-hmm.
couple of hours later and they've changed the price,
Mm-hmm.
whether they've
Mm-hmm.
pushed it up or pushed it down.
Yep.
We produce enough oil right here in this country where we shouldn't have to pay that much money for
That's
oil. Now,
exactly
if we
right.
had to import it, that would be different, but we don't have to import our oil. So there is a lot of price gouging that's been going on in the oil industry for quite some time. Um, Other countries that produce oil the way that we do, their citizens don't pay nearly as much for gas as we pay for it.
I,
It's like
I'm.
living by, it's
Mm-hmm.
like people who live next to a coastline. They don't
Mm-hmm.
pay as much for seafood as people who live further inland, like I do. But the oil industry, oil and gas industry, especially here in America, gets away with a whole lot,
They do.
including in environmental. Um, oh my gosh, they're the biggest, one of the biggest polluters on the planet, and we let them get away with it. But that's just my personal opinion. What were you gonna say? I think it was it Mike or was
I,
it you?
yeah, I was just going to say yesterday I bought gas, and I'm in Southern California, and I
Mm-hmm.
paid $5.34 a gallon
That's
here in California.
crazy.
Was that regular? Was that regular gas or
Oh yeah, that's the
premium?
cheapest stuff I could find to shove in my vehicle.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
I'm not buying the high dollar stuff. I'm buying
Wow.
whatever my vehicle is going to run on. So, but
Wow.
my vehicle runs fine now. But that 534, I believe, is what it was. And it's
Right.
been like Ann was mentioning, almost daily it changes because I think 2 days earlier it was 539. And now,
Mm-hmm.
and
It
then
does.
yesterday it's 534. I thought, oh, I better fill up. What a great deal! That's a
Huh?
wonderful deal. 534.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah,
and
what
We
a
used to be
wonderful
able to get
deal.
a quarter of a tank for $5. I
you
remember
know
that.
something?
Yeah.
When times were tough, like just put $5 on it. You were,
You know,
and you have a
and,
quarter of a tank of gas that could last you till you got
You're good
paid
for a
the
week,
next
right?
day.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Can I say
I'll tell you
something
something,
right
Dr.
here?
Sims. Dr.
Yes.
Sims, I'm gonna tell you something. Out here in Virginia, I think like, well, I put premium in my cars. I always do because I don't know whether I've
Are you
been
still driving that Prius?
Oh,
that what now?
He said
Are you still driving
Prius
that Prius?
Oh
decent
yeah,
car.
every day, Mike. Okay.
every day.
All I can say,
Uh-huh.
some people don't have a
And I put
Prius.
premium gas in it too. How about that?
Oh my
Exactly.
goodness. Prius, praise God.
Treat
But
it
no,
like it's a
no,
caddy.
you know, I
I'm
don't
sorry,
know.
Wade. I have
No,
to
no,
do
that's
that.
okay. I don't know whether I've been tricked or anything like that, but I always uh, uh, I was told that if you keep putting cheap gas in your car, then it start
It messes
clunking
the
after a
engine up.
while or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So I've always put
Yeah.
premium in my cars, right?
Mm.
But I
Yeah,
tell
but I
you,
wonder about the high expense. I'm sorry, William. I
no,
wonder
go
about
on,
the
go on,
high
go on.
expensive gas too, because I think it's a mind manipulation out there right now
I'm wondering.
because they're subject to tell you anything. But you know
Mhm.
what? I was following marketing. I've been doing this for the past 3 years to see the highs and the lows. And I've noticed even with the groceries in the stores, can you guys hear
Mhm.
me okay?
A
You're
little
still
bit
low.
louder. Turn it up,
Still low.
please.
Turn it up. Okay, let me do this. Okay, hang on. Can you
Yeah,
hear me now?
it's a
Wait.
little bit better.
Okay, how about here?
A little bit better.
A little bit better. Well, I don't know what's going on with my thing. Ugh,
Okay.
it's not me, folks. Can you hear me?
Okay, go on, please.
You're okay. We can hear
Hello.
you.
Okay.
Okay. I just noticed in marketing how they're operating. It's so funny because every time a commodity, a bulk of it is being bought by the public, all of a sudden they find something wrong with it. Okay, and then they can do a comparison with another brand, and so okay, my picture went out. Can you still hear me?
We
Yes,
can
you're
hear you.
good.
We just can't
Okay.
see you.
Yeah, my picture just went out, so I don't know what the heck is going on. But anyway, so what happens is that I noticed something. Almost everything that we've been eating for years, all of a sudden something's wrong with it. but they're doing a comparison with something else that's not being bought as much on the shelf, and they give you the remedy of the defective product. And so I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at the gas prices and things like that, and I noticed that during the holidays, the gas goes up because they know people are going to
That's
use
right.
gas. They have to do it. And this
Travel.
has been going on for the past few years. I mean, it just didn't start
Right.
happening. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it went up with all of, and I did a research on this in years ago, 2016, I mean 2015. It's been doing this all the time,
Mm-hmm.
going up, and people, I guess they just really haven't been really paying attention to it, but every holiday it goes up high because, like I said, they need their cars, right? They're going to
Mm-hmm.
drive. They know people are going to drive to Vegas or whatever, so they're going to use the gas, right? And
That's
so
right.
it's, I think it's a manipulation
It
of
is.
the resources for the public. We're already, and I'm gonna use this word and use it uh, widely. They're already raping us of everything else. They're overtaxing us
Mm-hmm.
on everything. I mean, they're taking from us. We have no say so in their methods. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the rich just keeps getting greedier to me. Those who
Yes,
have
they do.
control, they just keep getting greedier. And as long as we keep doing it, and I visualize in my mind, y'all might start laughing.
Why should
If
they
we,
stop?
but they're not going. You know why?
Because
Why should they
nobody's holding
stop?
them
Hey,
accountable.
check this
They're
out.
being
Here,
successful.
We
here's
need to
what I
give them a
thought.
reason to
Wait
stop.
a minute. Here's what
Continue,
I
Dr.
thought about.
Sims.
Here's what I thought about. I says, if everybody would just sit down and do absolutely nothing, and it
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of the day when Rosa Parks, if we want to go back there, and then they boycotted the bus. Our little old 10 cents. I thought they couldn't make it on our 10 cents, and that was just on one culture, and then
Mm-hmm.
others follow suit. And I said, if we all as a people would just sit down, because in actuality, we have to realize that they need us. You understand?
That's
They
right.
Mm-hmm.
need us to go to work. They need
Mm-hmm.
our taxes. They keep raping from us. I said everything is being taxed now. I mean, tax on top of tax on top of tax. And when taxes was first submitted to us, it was only supposed to be a one-time deal. But guess what? They're taxing us on
Mm-hmm.
everything. Water, you got to pay for the container of the water. You got to pay for the bags. You got to, now it's
The
just so out of
filtering,
hand. They are
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
greedy.
shipping.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones who have the more, they're in competition with each other because it's a power
Mm-hmm.
struggle. So the more that they can get the resources or get from us, what I'm trying to say, and make it like they're doing us a big favor. No, they're not. They're causing hardships. And the
Mm-hmm.
little raises that they're giving people don't even buy a hill of beans. You understand? They
Mm-hmm.
don't even
Right.
buy a candy bar. My daughter was at the gas station last night actually. She said, "Mommy," she said, "Do you know for a Snickers candy bar, they want to charge me $4. But
Wow.
what they're doing is
Jeez.
they're making the item smaller
They
and they're
are.
charging you more." Their first initial statement for charging us more
Yeah.
for sugar, and I'll just use that as an example, for sugar, is that there's a shortage of sugar. They just lied to us. What it
Mm-hmm.
was they wanted to make it smaller and charge you more. And
That's
as
right.
long as we keep paying for it, they're going to keep doing it to us. Okay. But when we don't say, there's too lack of a voice. There's a few of us that might say something, but it don't mean nothing to them because they're going to continue to do it because the
Mm-hmm.
masses aren't saying anything.
You know, you're exactly right. I agree with you
I'm
one
going to
thousand
go out
percent,
and come
Dr.
back
Sims.
in because my picture went off for some reason.
Okay. No, I
I'll
agree
come
with
back in.
Dr. Sims 1000% because I remember um, when before I moved to California, I lived in Virginia, and they came up with the sales tax here, and the sales tax, Mike, and it was 1%, and they said, "Oh, this is just temporary. This is just temporary. We're going to charge
Yeah,
you a
sure it is.
1% tax." They were exactly right, Mike. They didn't lie. The 1% was temporary. Then it went up to 2, then 3, then 4. Right? The 1%, yeah. It
I
is
think
absolutely.
California's like 7.5% now. I think 7.5.
Oh wow.
And let me ask you a question. Why should you have to? Let's say you buy anything from groceries to appliances to cars. After you pay your money, why do you have to pay a tax on it? You are taxed for buying something.
Oh, because we got to keep the roadways done and we got to keep the bridges done. We have to pay for the infrastructure. We have to pay for the politicians. We have to pay for this and this and this and this and this. In order to keep the government running smoothly, this is what we have to do. So you people need to sit down and shut up, because we just need to do this.
And the reason why we need to do it is because the rich people don't pay their fair share in taxes.
That's exactly
so
right.
If they paid their fair share in taxes, then the poorer people wouldn't have to be overtaxed the way that they are. Because yes, people who make the least amount of money are the ones carrying the financial burden of making sure we have roads and schools and all that other stuff. Because these rich people want to be able to build rockets to go up into outer space for a couple of seconds and come back and explode on impact. I don't know why we keep allowing this pattern of them paying so little while everybody else pays so much more in terms of their income. I mean, let's just put it into perspective. Let's say, for instance, somebody was making $100,000 a year and they paid, I'm being really generous because it's much higher than this, but let's just say they paid 25% in taxes. Well, that particular person is giving up $25,000 of the $100,000 that they made just to Uncle Sam. But if you've got somebody who's making, I don't know, $100 million a year, they're only giving up $250 million a year. They still have what, $750 million to spend. If you look at it that way, you see the huge discrepancy in somebody claiming that we should all pay the same amount in taxes. No, we should not all pay the same amount in taxes. It is not fair in the least for the people who make the most amount of money to pay the same as the people who pay who make the least amount of money, and then expect everything to get done. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
In Memphis, Tennessee, there's a bridge, a couple of bridges that cross over into West Memphis, Arkansas, which is where I grew up. The roads are so bad that going across the bridge, there's a big hole on the road and the bridge, and you can see the river. Not just a pothole, but the hole, it goes all the way through to where you can see the water below. That's how bad it is, because we don't have enough money coming in to cover our infrastructure costs. We're not taking care of those types of things because we're too busy trying to fight people who haven't done anything to us and giving our rich friends tax cuts and tax breaks. And doing all this at the expense of other people and and our infrastructure. There are people who are losing Medicaid benefits, insurance benefits. There are kids who are losing benefits as well, and they're starving. It's absolute insanity, all because rich people want to be even richer than they already are. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
The greed is just it's unfathomable that you got more than enough and you don't want to share just a tiny bit of that in the grand scheme of things with other people. It's crazy.
I agree with you. And the thing about it is the rich people aren't even paying that much in taxes anymore.
No, not compared to other people.
It is now the tax base basically comes from us working people, right? The rich people, they have so many different write-offs that they end up paying very little taxes. So we might end up paying 15, 20, 25%. And a lot of these knuckleheads aren't paying nearly as much, even percentage-wise, as we are.
Right.
And it's something that Dr. Sims said that I totally agree with. What we need to do, and I'm going to just paraphrase Dr. Sims and what I take, we need to stop putting up with it and boycotts. I don't know whether that's the word you want to use or whatever it is, but stop buying into this and settling for what they are giving us. Because I'm telling you what, if the masses sit down and say, nope, I don't think I'm buying gas. Well, if you got to go to work, you got to buy gas, right? But I don't
Good
think I'm
luck
gonna
on that
stop
one.
Unless you got an electric vehicle,
That
which
part.
they have been lobbying really hard against and
Big
making it
time
very
on
difficult
that.
for us to transition into the electric vehicle
Right.
section. And they make it seem like Americans don't want it. It's not that we don't want it, it's that you
I don't
haven't
trust
created
them
the
right now.
infrastructure for it.
Right.
So it would be very difficult for somebody who say lives in an apartment or lives in a big city where you know don't have a garage, but your parking is right on the street in front of your house. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to charge your car? And who has the time to sit for 2 hours after driving far out of the way for the car to drive, for the car to be charged up? So they are very resistant to creating the infrastructure that's necessary for this to work. And not only that, they're really resistant in doing something about making it cost effective, like the Biden administration's tax credits. So they're making it harder for us to move to greener technology because of their own greed. The oil companies are making sure that they basically stay in control of everything so they can keep making the billions and billions of dollars that they make every year.
Okay.
Can I give a different perspective here at the risk of all of you hating me?
And you go ahead.
Okay. And I mean this with the best of intentions here. William knows, I work 6 days a week. I work 2 jobs. I have dedicated myself to my family and making my lifestyle comfortable in my elderly years, my senior years. I won't say elderly, senior years. And I've busted my butt, and William knows because he knows what I've done in my life. And my tax bracket is 35%. Okay, and I'm comfortable, but I pay 35% in taxes. So why should I have to accommodate people that refuse to or won't work as hard as I did? Why should I pay for them if they're not willing to work as hard as I worked, or as hard as you, Ann, has worked, you, Dr. Sims, and you, William? You've worked hard to make yourself comfortable and make money in your life. Why should I be responsible for people that aren't willing to put in the time, the effort, and the sweat and tears to make themselves comfortable? Why am I responsible to make other people comfortable that aren't willing to work as hard as I did?
Well, number one, we're not talking about you being responsible for making other people comfortable who don't work. What we're talking about is making the people at the very top, not the people who aren't making billions and multi-million dollars a year and paying their fair share. So you paying 35%, that's one thing. But if Elon Musk, who's supposed to be the first trillionaire, if he paid his the way that it used to be before Ronald Reagan took office, if he paid 70% taxes on $1 trillion, he would still have $300 billion.
It wouldn't make a difference.
He would still have $300 billion. That would take care of a lot of our infrastructure problems. That would take care of a whole lot of our Medicaid problems, our Social Security problems.
It would not make a difference, Ann. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying that it'll fix every issue in the world, but if he paid his part and the Facebook guy paid his part and all the other Bezos and all those other people paid their part,
share,
then we can fix our roads. We can do more in our schools. We can help our elderly. We can do all the things that we need to do. Now, as far as somebody
we should punish people that worked really hard and made a lot of money, and we should make them responsible.
How is it a punishment to make them pay their fair share of taxes?
Because they made a lot of money, and then we should give their money to other people who didn't work as hard.
How is taxation a punishment?
You're taking money away from somebody that they worked hard for.
That's the way government works. It's been working that way since the Bible days. Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. This is nothing new, people. monarchies do this, not just regular governments, and it's not a punishment. And not only that, why do they need $1 trillion? Why do you need multi-billion dollars in order to be
why should you take their money away to give to people who don't want to work so hard?
First of all, how do you know their money is being taken away so that, well, Mike interrupted me while I was talking, so forgive me. I never did get to finish.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just don't want anybody to feel like I'm trying to talk over them.
No, go.
I'm just trying to finish my original thought and at the same time answer questions, because I know you don't like to wait until the end, when so much has been said. But it's okay. What I was explaining is this: taxes are not anything new. It's something we've all been doing for years. As a matter of fact, you can go back to before Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar what was Caesar's," to the Hebrew boys when I'm sorry, not the Hebrew boys, but to the Israelites when they put their brother in the well and he ended up working for Pharaoh. He instituted a tax during the famine so that everybody could eat and the government could still function and not everybody would die. So this is normal, folks. This is how societies have been functioning for thousands of years in order to make the government work for everybody. It's not a punishment. It is just the way we fund our government. Whatever we're talking about, whether we're talking about a business, whether we're talking about your home, whether we are talking about a government, you must have income coming in order to make it work. I need income for my house in order to have, food, in order to have a mortgage that's paid, in order to have electricity. The businesses need it to meet their overhead. The governments need it in order to run effectively and to take care of their citizens. Now, is everybody that is living in a country going to have necessarily the work ethic to have 3 or 4 jobs? No, you will have people who are lazy. You will have people who are criminals. We are not talking about them. The people that I mentioned are the people who need Medicare. Those are like our elderly people, the folks who are on Social Security, the people who have worked hard. They shouldn't be looking at their end days at a bankrupt Social Security system that they've been paying into for decades, and that's supposed to be there for them to supplement what they have done all their lives, whether they've worked and say had a pension or 401k or whatever it is. Then they get the Social Security so that they can live as comfortably as, say, you or anybody else. It's not it's not punishment to say the people who are making the most money should pay their fair share in taxes, because what I make isn't the same as what they make, and they will have so much more left over that's going to keep them comfortable versus me and everybody in my situation trying to keep up the roads for all of us. Because if you're saying it's some type of punishment for them to pay, well, it's a punishment for all of us to pay. So we all should be driving on bumpy roads. We all should be having to homeschool our kids because we don't have any schools, because we can't pay for schools, we can't pay for the teachers, we can't pay for anything else that's needed to run our government and make this a comfortable community for everybody. We're all being punished then. Nobody should have to pay any taxes then. What do we have?
Right.
We gotta let Dr. Sims in.
Yeah, we'll let Dr. Sims in. Don't worry about that. I'm going to do that. But I agree. And let me just say this, and then Dr. Sims, you're next. Mike, Elon Musk and Trump and his boys, the billionaires, you pay more taxes than they do. You pay more taxes than they do. Okay. Even though you have a nice nest egg, they pay very little taxes. Trump got on it one time, and after he'd been audited or after it came out, he was only paying $750 several years for taxes. You pay a lot more than that. Okay. So these guys at the very top, and let me just say this before I toss over to Dr. Sim. These guys, the multi-billionaires and Elon Musk and these guys, they pay very little taxes. And collectively, if that top 5% paid their real fair share, it would make a difference. Dr. Sims.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would. Mike, you can disagree all you want.
I'm disagreeing politely.
It's okay. It's okay to disagree. But what I'm saying is, I don't agree with you at all. At all on that particular part. We've agreed most of the time today, but I do not agree with that. It would make a difference. Are you going to tell me adding more dollars would not make a difference? That doesn't make sense, Dr. Sims.
I agree and disagree, but then too, I equate my circumstances, okay, and this sister right here worked hard, okay, coming up as a young woman, 2 and 3 jobs and things like that, and the system, and I have to say this, the system also, I believe, is designed to keep some of us in the middle class or lower class status. I
Agreed.
believe this
I agree.
because they do not want you to come up there with the Rockefellers and the
Control.
trillionaires and the multi-billionaires, because that is a cliquish regime, and I believe this.
Mhm.
And they look out for each other, and they are not as taxed as we are. That's why I said in the beginning of my statement when I first came on, we are raped of our resources to keep them
Mhm.
subsidized. And it is what it is. I don't care how hard we work. Right now, I'm retired. You get it, right? My little pennies don't even equate to what I need, if that makes sense. Because stuff is constantly being taken from me. And they're thinking they're doing me a favor by giving me these few little dollars on my Social Security. I can't even buy a toothache. I'm just saying, okay.
You earned that Social Security.
Okay. I
You
know
earned
I
that.
earned that. But let me tell you what they did. Okay. I thought I wasn't supposed to pay taxes on something that's already been taxed 2 times. But after Social Security, somebody said, you're supposed to be paying taxes on your Social Security. I said, you know what? I am so sick of these greedy people because
Mhm.
that's already been taxed money as far as I'm concerned. I earned that. That was like a savings account. But my whole thing is if those greedy millionaires, and I'm just not saying
I
multi-billionaires
agree.
and trillionaires, there's some millionaires that have been stealing our resources, literally stealing from us. That's why we can't get things done, because when Ann was talking, I said somebody need to call Gavin Newsom about them $126 billion he done misappropriated, because he done hid it somewhere in his bank account, and a whole lot of them. This is what I'm feeling, because you look at LA situation, he was given money to do a specific thing. That specific thing wasn't done. Now you're going to have amnesia and don't know where the money went. Give me a break. All of a sudden you become they don't, here's what I'm trying to say. They do not tell you what their real financial status is, because they've been stealing from us for years, because none the wiser. I mean, we talk about it, and I know, we know what our situation is, and I get so tired of living just a certain lifestyle. Now, when it comes to taxes, I believe that the multi-billionaires, the trillionaires, and all of them supposed to be taxed fairly. But if you look back in the biblical days, it wasn't done fairly then, because you have people who were rich then who were not getting taxed. That is just history and time. I was sitting down, I said, if we have an even playing field, what could we do with an even playing field? Okay, what could we not do with an even playing field? My thing is this, because we have categories that's been orchestrated and designed for people to be in, and you talk about the middle class, and I feel the poor class, because I'm in between there. I'm not ashamed of it, but I work what I work. But my thing is this, but it also considers what you consider being better off as well. Because right now, these days, better off is not really hardly nothing these days, concerning what we are dealing with the
Mm.
upper echelon, with their thievery and their financial status. But my thing is this, they should be taxed. Okay. Now, I do have a problem with somebody sitting home on their butt talking about, I should be getting this and I should be getting that. And see, I have an issue when I go to get something, and when I go to get something, they take me through the ringer. Okay.
Mhm.
And I worked since I was 11 years old. Do you know how that makes me feel when somebody can come in there and just get, and then they just slap it in your face? It's like, oh, well, I've heard people say, they owe me this. Oh, you what? If you didn't do
If you didn't work for it.
if you had no initiative and you sit back and we got a lazy people who want to live lavish, you understand, who want to live large and didn't put in the effort. I've got an issue with that, just like with education. And I'm gonna say it, somebody gonna get mad at me. I said I have an issue with people want to become honorary doctorates. They didn't put in the time, they didn't go to school. They woke up in the morning and said, "Oh, I believe I want to become a doctorate," because it gives them, they feel prestige. And so there's a lot of things that go in place with people being entitlement. I agree that the upper echelon should pay more because they have more, but don't make them suffer because of the ones who don't want to do nothing. Okay. That's my problem. And you giving
Right.
them free this and free that and free this. And I'm starting to say something, Lord. Thank you. I got to I got to jump through hoops in order to get something that I worked for. That is
Right.
not right. And as far as the roads, and I'll say this last thing, William, the roads and stuff like it's a mess. It's a
It is.
mess. But my thing is this: it's not that the city hasn't been getting money; it's what they've been doing with it, and then what they've been telling us that what they haven't been getting.
Mhm.
I've noticed this down through the years. Where I live, I don't know if it happens where you live, but where I live,
All over.
man, you see them getting all this money. But let me say, they got their hands in the till. And then they'll make you think that, oh,
Mhm.
we didn't have enough for this, and oh, we didn't have this for this. They're lying. They're lying. Money makes people do real strange things when it's
Oh
given
yeah.
to them. They do a lot of lying and manipulation. And who are we? We are the society. I inherit. Okay. What do I know?
Hmm.
I know what they report, but sometimes those report, like I said, William, before, sometimes those reports do a lot of lying because
I
they'll
agree with
make
you
you
one
think
million
the
percent.
thing, they'll make you think the thing that it is not. And I'm like, what the heck? You said you were going to do this, just like they said the homeless situation was fixed in LA. I'm trying to figure out in what society, in what
Mm.
century, because what I'm looking at, you got the money to fix roads. What they do, and what they do cheap stuff that they fix stuff with, the cheapest stuff that they can get, so they can keep the bulk of the money. That's why we got so many
Mhm.
potholes. We got so many, like you said, bridges. We have bridges that fell down in LA a couple years ago. Why? Because they use cheap material.
That's
But you
exactly
can
right.
always be sure that your sins
Mm.
gonna find you out.
Okay. All right. We got to move on. But anyway, I want to say this. Anyone who praises Elon Musk, I think that you're missing the boat here. Elon Musk, matter of fact, he's not the smart guy like everybody gives him credit for. And guess what? Speaking of handouts, do you know he has billions of dollars of contracts out of the United States? Bezos got billions of dollars of contracts from the United States. Okay. These guys didn't work for any of that.
They're a
It's
bunch of
who
thieves.
they are, cronies that knew they know somebody, you know somebody, you know somebody, and the rich is going to keep greasing the palms of other rich people. They do not, they didn't earn this. And the companies that he owns, he bought them. He didn't create them. There's nothing genius about that because
That's just opportunistic. Yeah.
if you have money, then you can do things. You can buy things. You can hire the best people, even though that's questionable too. But no, he did not earn that. And these guys are not paying their fair
Some of
share.
it was inherited. They inherited from,
They inherited.
and that's fine for inheriting it. I mean, because that's a
But
family lineage. I get
but
that.
should they also get government contracts?
No, I don't. I
Government,
don't
we
believe
are
that.
paying
No,
these people. He's got
no.
billions of dollars in government contracts just to blow up rocket ships. Anyway, let's move on to this next section right
Well,
here.
hold on. Before you go to that next section, there's one more thing I want to say because this is what really irritates me about Republicans. On the one hand, you want to act like, you know, taxation is so evil, but then on the other side, you complain about spending and never having enough money and the government always being at a deficit. If you don't fund the government, that's what's going to happen. You can't expect the poorest people in the country to be able to pay to make this place work. The folks who make the most money must pay their fair share, or we will continue to have a deficit. Right now, we have a deficit of 34, the federal debt eclipsed $34 trillion.
39.
34 trillion, 34 trillion. So if that is the case, who do you think has $34 trillion? Not the Ann's, Dr. Sims, Williams, and Mike's in the country. You're going to get the $34 trillion from the people who are closest to making the trillions of dollars. They must pay their share so that this government, the income versus, the assets versus the expenses, so you can make that balance. You can't make that balance if you don't get all the money in that you need to spend. So I'm sorry, if you think that it's a punishment. The truth of the matter is it's necessary if what we're saying is we don't want government to function at a deficit, and we don't want to be in debt to China and all these other places. You're in debt to China and all these other places because these people who, for whatever reason, don't pay their fair share of taxes are hoarding their money, and their friends are allowing them to do it. And you will always be in debt. You always come up on the short side of the stick until you figure out the math that they need to pay more money because the rest of us can't afford to pay it on our own.
But
I'm done, William.
Okay, I've got to move. We got to move on. We got to move on. Okay. All right, here we go.
Donald Trump supporter right here. I should have known he would fall into the same trap that George Bush fell into. In 2016, Donald Trump is campaigning about his frustration with George Bush getting a part of a foreign war that America shouldn't be a part of. And 10 years later, Donald Trump's listening to the exact same corporate donors and foreign lobbyists, and you're mad at me for actually calling him out? I'm sorry that I voted for him 3 times. I should have known better. I should have
3
known
times too many.
At this point.
1 time too many.
I know you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you're a liberal now. You're a Democrat. I ain't voting for those guys either. They're bought by AIPAC as well. But I tell you this, moving forward, I don't give a crap about right or left. If there's a anti-AIPAC candidate, it could be a liberal, it could be a Democrat, I will listen to them more than J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio any day. Because J.D. and Marco are Donald Trump 2.0, and I ain't voting for Donald Trump 4 times.
3-time voter, by the way. I've mentioned this kind of stuff on the channel before, but it's insane. 3 elections, 3 votes. And it took Trump saying it out loud for him to finally hear it, man. Oh my God, a little too late, but I guess better late than ever. Anyways, if you haven't already, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it.
When you're negotiating with Iran, Mr. President, to what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation.
What'd you make of that?
Yeah, that's bullcrap.
I think that's a true statement. Because, of course, he's not thinking about us at all.
I did vote for Trump. Seemed like a lot different, in the beginning. I'm not fully against everything, but, more currently with the way things are going, I don't agree with. I don't think we should be in this war.
He doesn't care about our situation. He doesn't. He's just here for pride and ego. He's not lying, and he proves it. Not only that, but also like food stamps and other stuff. He does not care about our financial situation. He cares about giving himself a name.
When he says that he's not thinking about America.
Notice she mentioned food stamps.
Sometimes he comes across.
Please, all of you listen on this broadcast, listen to how she's mentioned food stamps.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well,
why is that a problem?
I mean, I think that when you're someone who grew up with a certain amount of money, you're going to be out of touch. You're going to live in a completely different reality than other people. When you have no idea what it's like to actually have to work for $1, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Of course, the American pockets don't mean anything to you.
Our gas prices went up because he got us there. And now what's he doing to get them back down?
He seemed different back then. I mean, no, not at all. It's just you weren't listening when the rest of us were screaming what so blatantly is going on and what was going to happen, which is currently happening now.
What do you think about Trump saying he doesn't care about the financial situation of Americans, Mother?
Well, I think that was taken out of context.
It wasn't. It's a simple question. But what do you think about it? Like, genuinely.
I don't think he meant it that way, son.
I think he's an awful person. And I think he really doesn't care, actually.
He does care. No, he wouldn't be doing what he
Then why is everything so high?
Because he's trying to fix
it.
Out of context, it's just That's the new excuse out of
maybe Mom had a
context.
point.
Every time he says exactly what he means, you know, it's almost essentially, I guess you could say, a Freudian slip at the end of the day. But either way, it's still insane, whatever the context is, to say that out loud. It's important to keep, you know, Americans' financial situations in mind. It's part of, you know, why you sit where you sit.
Trump just went on Fox News and doubled down on saying he doesn't care about the Americans and their financial situation. This was after 2 days of all the MAGA morons saying that they don't, that he was taken out of context, that he didn't really mean that. Britt Baer, boy, he was trying everything. He was trying everything to say, please say this is taken out of context. And Trump's just like, no, that's exactly what I said. I got the clip right here. Here it is.
Democrats and political pundits jumped all over this statement that you made the other day. You were asked when you were leaving.
What extent are American financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Sorry, it's so small. Just
the only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about American financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all.
That's right. That's a perfect statement. I'd make it again.
You can imagine how many people stopped the soundbite I don't think about America's financial situation. So what's your response to that framework?
It's very simple. When people hear me say it, everybody agrees. Short-term pain. It's going to be short-term pain. But the pain is much less.
He just makes y'all look like fools over and over and over again. And y'all just keep coming back to drink from the trough. I fucking love it. I fucking love it because y'all can't get enough of it, and I can't get enough of it either. Oh man, every day is something else. Y'all just have to keep saying it's okay, keep making excuses for him, and then he just comes right back over you and says, no, that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I mean. What y'all gonna say? Is it AI finally now? Is that what y'all are gonna say?
Him doubling down is insane. Absolutely crazy. I mean, he actually said it essentially again, is, you know, just a little bit differently, right? You know, and they're still out here defending him. You know, when are people going to start waking up beyond what they're at the current rate they're currently waking up? It's nice that some are, but, you know, you need to really start waking up out there, guys.
Senator, real quick, what do you make of Donald Trump saying that he doesn't think about the finances or the financial situation of the American people?
Did he say that?
Yeah.
I don't think about Americans' financial situation.
I don't have a comment about that, mostly because I think he actually does care.
Donald Trump saying that he doesn't think about the American people's financial situation. He just said it in the presser about an hour and a half ago.
Well, I didn't see that.
You haven't seen it yet? Got it. On what Trump just said at his presser?
I don't know what he just said.
Well, he said he doesn't think much about the finances of the American people.
I would have to find out the context of it. I'm sorry.
Got it. Donald Trump just saying that he doesn't care about the American people's financial situation.
Well, that's apparent based on his policies. He's certainly not focused on the everyday costs of struggling working families who can't afford gas, can't afford child care, can't afford health care. And, you know, I guess a broke clock is right twice a day. It's good to see Donald Trump telling the truth about that.
Donald Trump saying that he doesn't think about the American people's financial situation.
It's no surprise that you got one for him.
W. Two great responses. You know, a sitting senator pretending he doesn't believe it. You know, that's not ignorance. That's loyalty over country, man. That's crazy, man. It's so insane. At least that second to last guy, he was saying it how it is. This guy.
I'm gonna stop it right there. Okay, that's the problem. That's the problem right there, because the ultra wealthy and the oligarchs, they are concerned about one thing: they are profiting from this illegal war, and they're driving up the cost of everything, and Americans are feeling it. And like they said, he really doesn't care. And people say, well, you took it out of context. It's taken out. No, somebody on this panel right now, tell me what context was taken out of. I mean, how was it taken out of context?
I will tell you if you want to listen.
I will listen. Okay.
I will tell you, because what's more, see, it's a matter of priorities. It's a matter of bigger picture. Because would you want higher gas prices, or would you want World War III because Iran has a nuclear weapon?
Let me answer that. The Intelligence Department debunks what you're saying.
No. Answer the question.
I'm answering the question. Okay. you asked the question. Let me answer it.
Yeah.
It is not about Iran having a nuclear weapon. That's not it.
That's exactly what it's
Well,
about.
let me finish. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
No, it's not. It's not at all. As a matter of fact, if he hadn't torn up Obama's deal, we wouldn't even be in the situation right now.
Oh, please don't
That's
do
exactly
that.
right. That's
Oh,
exactly
Christ.
right.
Oh,
He told
listen, every president in the last 20 years has said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And now you're saying, no, it's okay if they want a nuclear weapon because now they can discharge something in Europe that will
they have not started
bury us into World War III, and you're okay with that. But a part-time inconvenience of having a little higher gas prices. Oh, that's just horrific. Well, we can't have that. So no, we can have nuclear war, but we can't have higher gas prices. You have to look at the bigger picture, William.
I'm looking at the look, Mike.
Listen, you got to stop.
I know I don't. No, Mike. Guess what?
There's a bigger picture here.
Our own intelligence department, people who are closer to the vest than you or I or anyone on this panel said they were not. And I tell you what, with the deal with the Obama,
oh, you're living in a fantasy world.
No, I am not.
You're living in a fantasy world if you don't think Iran wants a nuclear weapon. Of course they do. No. That's why they're enriching their uranium. That's why they're going ahead with their yellow cake. That's why Hillary Clinton gave them yellow cake. That's why Barack Obama gave them thousands and millions of money back to support them, and get a nuclear weapon.
Mike,
so don't even.
Mike, you're wrong.
Iran wants a nuclear weapon, and they cannot have one because it's going to it will unstabilize the world because they're gonna start making demands. So and these people are insane. These people in Iran are insane. They're 6-year-olds with guns. You cannot let 6-year-olds have guns because they're insane. They will destroy themselves and us along with them if you let them have a nuclear weapon. No, stop.
No, you stop.
Full stop. Mike. You cannot let crazy people have nuclear weapons.
We got one in the White House that's got control of a nuclear weapon.
What's the craziest one on the planet? Who is he threatening? Who has he threatened? Stop. Who is he threatening with a nuclear weapon?
I think he said he was going to totally destroy Iran.
That's exactly right.
He didn't say nuclear.
No civilization left.
He didn't say nuclear.
Get it done otherwise.
He's going to blow them up because they're insane. He's going to stop them. He's going to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. He's going to blow up all their militaries. He's already sunk all their military. Their military doesn't exist anymore because he blew them up. He didn't do nuclear weapons, did he? Could he have? Yeah, he could have, but he didn't. Did he?
He didn't have one.
The military doesn't exist anymore. You just said their military. Did you say their military doesn't exist anymore?
They don't have a military that's effective anymore. They don't have aircraft. Iran. Iran.
It's so why
they don't have an aircraft anymore. They don't have anything that's maritime anymore. They're all sunk.
Well, guess what? Hey,
so why do we need to make a deal?
Why are they blowing up our bases? Why are they blowing up our bases still if they have no capability of doing so? And what you don't understand is that you got North Korea has nuclear weapon, Israel has nuclear weapons, and do you know that
they don't threaten to use them, do they? They don't threaten to use them because the nuclear powers know if they use nuclear weapons, it's going to be World War III. So there's all these individual countries that have nuclear weapons, but they know they can't.
Nobody should have a nuclear weapon.
Well, I'm okay with that, by the way. I'm okay with nobody having nuclear weapons.
Guess what?
But Iran is not rational. Iran is like I said earlier. It's a 6-year-old with a gun. You can't do that. Israel and everyone else and China, they have nuclear weapons, but they're not 6-year-olds. They're not 6-year-olds. They're not insane people.
And Trump is a 3-year-old with a gun.
Oh, stop!
No, you stop.
Who's he threatening? Who is he threatening with nuclear weapons? Who?
The whole world?
Who?
Everybody.
Who's he threatening with nuclear weapons?
He has threatened. He talk about wiping out an entire regime.
Who has he threatened with nuclear weapons? Tell me. Give me a name.
You can come out and say nuclear because
give me a name. Give me a name. I'm waiting for a name.
Donald Trump.
Who has he threatened with nuclear weapons?
Trump.
Give me. Who has he threatened?
Iran. He talking about the entire.
No, he didn't threaten Iran. No, he's not threatened. No, he has not.
Used the word nuclear.
He said he has not threatened them with nuclear weapons. Stop. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. He's threatened to blow their shit up. He's threatened to blow their shit up. He's never threatened with nuclear weapons. He's never threatened to blow them up with a nuclear weapon.
Mike, he blew up Venezuela. He's talking
about nuclear weapons. With nuclear weapons. With nuclear weapons.
He didn't
with
say
nuclear weapons.
As stupid as
I'm waiting. Yes or no? Nuclear weapons?
He said,
the answer is no. He does. He surgically went in and removed Iran.
Okay.
He removed the people in power because they were evil.
This horse to death, guys. I think
and so is the United States.
Who has anybody threatened with nuclear weapons except Iran?
No, he did not. And I tell you what, and Israel has threatened to use a nuclear weapon, and Israel has a nuclear weapon, and it is not.
They haven't threatened anybody with it, did they?
They have too, Mike.
They never threatened anyone with it, did they?
Mike.
Did they? Answer my question. Did they threaten anyone with a nuclear weapon?
And Iran didn't either. They didn't say it. Did they say they were going to blow someone up?
Because they didn't have one, because everyone wouldn't allow them to have a six-year-old with a gun.
If that stupid ass Trump hadn't torn up the deal, it wouldn't be close, because I guess what
deal? They gave them money. They gave them billions of dollars, and
money. It was their money.
And Clinton gave them yellow cake.
It was their
the precursor to nuclear weapons.
It was their money.
No,
it was their money. We didn't give them money.
Why would you give an evil regime money and yellow cake?
Because
and say, okay, go ahead.
You know, they have the right to do what they want. That's their country. They can do what they want to do.
Just so like they can become a threat. They can become a threat to the world.
Mike,
is that what you're okay with that?
Like
Are you okay with Iran becoming a threat to the world?
Are
you okay with Iran becoming a threat to the world?
I'm okay with them doing what they want to do in that country.
A nuclear threat.
We are a nuclear threat too, and so is Israel. And so is North Korea.
We don't threaten anyone.
And do you know, because of the
we don't threaten anybody.
Stupid president. No.
We'll blow your ass up, but we didn't threaten any nuclear.
Stop right now. What you don't know is that Iran and Russia has just went into a $25 billion nuclear deal. Did you know that? Did you know that?
Don't care.
You don't care.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Russia. Iran
can't give a 6-year-old a gun.
Iran and Russia just
can't give a 6-year-old a gun.
$1 billion nuclear deal.
Every president in the last 25 years has said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. What's wrong with
that? And Iran does not. And if that stupid Trump had not torn up the deal,
they stopped him.
No,
they stopped Iran.
If Trump hadn't torn up the deal, we wouldn't even be here. We would not be here.
Oh, they'd still be enriching uranium.
No.
Yes, they would. They'd still be enriching uranium now, today. They'd be enriching uranium.
That's baloney. And because
Iran wants a nuclear weapon.
Iran had gone into the deal with Trump. Hear me out. Okay, then you can jump in.
I'm going to try.
No, hear me out.
I'm going to try.
Hear me out. What I'm saying is, you don't know what you're talking about. Iran had agreed, and they had inspectors from several different countries coming in and inspecting and making sure they did not have a nuclear weapon.
And they weren't allowed to go in certain places. Why? They weren't allowed to go in certain places. Why?
Stay off of Fox News.
Because they were hiding. They're hiding their nuclear.
Fox News, because you have no idea what you're talking about.
They were hiding their nuclear.
They were not hiding anything.
That's why they weren't allowed to go to certain places.
You don't know that, Mike.
They did not have unrestricted. They did not have unrestricted access to everything.
They did.
No, they didn't. Not even close.
No. That was the agreement, and Iran was keeping their deal.
Oh, Iran. Oh, that's somebody to agree with.
Deal because they were letting inspectors come in.
They would never lie. They would never lie, right?
Have we lied, Mike? Have we ever lied?
Every country lies.
Okay, well, stay out of that.
I'm not a fool.
Matter of fact,
every country lies, including the U.S.
You have no idea.
I'm not a fool. I see both sides of it, but you only see one side. You can't do that.
I see both sides. I see I see common sense. I see stupidity.
One of you ladies, please take over.
Hey, Mike. Nope.
One of the ladies, please take over.
They're not listening. They're not listening.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you something right now. It's their country. In any country, you can do whatever you want to do. North Korea has a nuclear weapon. Israel has a nuclear weapon, and they won't even let inspectors come in. They won't even let inspectors come in. Russia has nuclear weapons, and is willing to a deal
Have they
with
threatened
Iran.
somebody? Have they threatened somebody?
Yes.
No, they haven't. Who?
Do you think Russia is our friend? Do you think
Has Russia threatened to bomb us with a nuclear weapon?
Oh, hold on. I have the answer. Hush. I have the answer.
Okay,
I have
Ann.
the answer.
Thanks, Ann. Thank you, Ann. I need to breathe. I need to take a breath.
Yes,
so
everybody needs this right now. Everybody
floor.
needs this. Thank you, Lord. Okay, this is an article.
Thank you, Ann.
This looks like CNN. Putin issues nuclear warning to the West over strikes on Russia from Ukraine. It says President Vladimir Putin warned the West on Wednesday that Russia could use nuclear weapons if it was struck with conventional missiles, and that Moscow would consider any assault on it supported by nuclear power to be a joint attack. The decision to change Russia's official nuclear doctrine is the Kremlin's answer to deliberations in the United States and Britain about whether or not to give Ukraine permission to fire conventional Western missiles into Russia. Putin, opening a meeting of Russia's Security Council, said that the changes were in response to a swiftly changing global landscape, which had thrown up new threats and risk for Russia. The 71-year-old Kremlin chief, the primary decision maker on Russia's vast nuclear arsenal, said he wanted to underscore one key change in particular. It is proposed that aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the participation or support of a nuclear state, be considered as their joint attack on the Russian Federation, Putin said. The conditions for Russia's transition to the use of nuclear weapons are also clearly fixed, Putin said, adding that Moscow would consider such a move if it detected the start of a massive launch of missiles, aircraft, or drones against it. Russia reserved the right to also use nuclear weapons if it or ally Belarus were the subject of aggression, including by conventional weapons, Putin said. Putin said the clarifications were carefully calibrated and commensurate with the modern military threats facing Russia, confirmation that the nuclear doctrine was changing. Russia's current published nuclear doctrine, set out in a 2020 decree by Putin, says Russia may use nuclear weapons in case of a nuclear attack by an enemy or conventional attack that threatens the existence of the state. The innovations outlined by Putin include a widening of the threats under which Russia would consider a nuclear strike, the inclusion of allied Belarus under the nuclear umbrella, and the idea that a rival nuclear power supporting a conventional strike on Russia would also be considered to be attacking it. The United States in 2022 was so concerned about the possible use of tactical nuclear weapons by Russia that it warned Putin over the consequences of using such weapons, according to Central Intelligence Agency Director Bill Burns. The 2.5-year-old Ukraine war has triggered the gravest confrontation between Russia and the West since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, considered to be the closest the two Cold War superpowers came to intentional nuclear war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been urging Kyiv's allies for months to let Ukraine use Western missiles, including long-range U.S. ATACMSs, which they call ATACMS, and British Storm Shadows deep into Russia to limit Moscow's ability to launch attacks, with Ukraine losing key towns to gradually advancing Russian forces in the country's east. The war is entering what Russian officials say is the most dangerous phase to date. Zelensky has urged the West to cross and disregard Russia's so-called red line, and some Western allies have urged the United States to do just that. Though Putin's Russia which controls just under 1/5 of Ukrainian territory, has warned that the West and Ukraine are risking a global war. Russia no longer has any instruments to intimidate the world apart from nuclear blackmail. Andriy Yermak, Zelensky's chief of staff, said in response to Putin's remarks, these instruments will not work. Putin, who cast the West as a decadent aggressor, and U.S. President, this is an old article, by the way, Joe Biden, who cast Russia as a corrupt, corrupt autocracy, and Putin as a killer, have both warned that a direct Russian-NATO confrontation could escalate into World War III. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has also warned of the risk of nuclear war. Russia is the world's largest nuclear power. Together, Russia and the U.S. control 88% of the world's nuclear warheads.
Yep.
In his remarks to Russia's Security Council, a type of modern day Politburo of Putin's most powerful officials, including influential hawks, Putin said that work on amendments on changing the doctrine had been going on for the past year. The nuclear triad remains the most important guarantee of ensuring the security of our state and citizens, an instrument for maintaining strategic parity and balance of power in the war, Putin said. Russia, he said, would consider using nuclear weapons upon receiving reliable information about the massive launch of aerospace attack vehicles and their crossing of our state border, meaning strategic or tactical aircraft, cruise missiles, drones, hypersonic, and other aircraft. That's the end of the article, but I wanted to read something to you guys from years ago, so to point out that Putin has, since the beginning of the war with Ukraine, been threatening to use nuclear weapons against the Ukrainian people. And the rest of the world basically claiming it'll trigger World War III. So it's not true that he hasn't been making those statements. He has been making them all along.
And so has North Korea.
Right.
And I'm gonna do this real quick, and then I'm gonna go to. Then I want to go to Dr. Sims here. Let me do this real quick. All right, hold on one second, guys. And these
in exchange for that, Iran received sanction relief from the United States and our European allies.
Hold on.
President Trump keeps talking about the Iran nuclear deal, but he's not always talking about the one he's negotiating. Lots of times he's talking about the nuclear deal former President Barack Obama negotiated with Iran, a deal that Trump has said for more than a decade was disastrous.
I was very proud to have knocked out the Iran nuclear deal by President Barack Hussein Obama. That was a horrible, horrible, dangerous document. They would have had nuclear weapons 3 years ago.
But is that true? Was Obama's deal a dangerous document that allowed Iran to have a nuclear weapon? And is this new deal that Trump is negotiating with Iran better, worse, or the same? Well, whether it's better or worse is going to be up to you. And since we don't yet know exactly what Trump is negotiating, all we can do right now is understand the Obama deal. So when Trump's deal is announced, we have something to compare it to. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. And yes, buckle up because it is a deep dive. So Obama's deal was officially called the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. There was one thing that both President Trump and President Obama agreed on. Both of them said repeatedly that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. The JCPOA deal was agreed to in July of 2015 and implemented in January of 2016 by not only the United States and Iran, but also China, France, Germany, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the European Union. The deal said that Iran's nuclear program would be exclusively peaceful, and the deal reaffirmed that under no circumstances will Iran ever develop or acquire any nuclear weapons. To ensure that happened, Iran agreed to allow continuous monitoring of its operation by the International Atomic Energy Agency. Iran
only what they want you to see, though.
Listen, uranium and almost all.
I'm listening, but this is
which
bullshit.
are the machines that enrich the uranium. Some parts of the deal were scheduled to last between 10 and 25 years, and others were supposed to last forever. In exchange for that, Iran received sanction relief from the United States and our European allies. And according to this report from the International Atomic Energy Agency dated November 23rd, 2017, so almost 2 years after this deal was implemented, Iran was in full compliance with the JCPOA. The IAEA said Iran was not enriching uranium outside of the range agreed to for the peaceful purposes. The report said no enriched uranium has been accumulated through enrichment R&D activities, and it said Iran had submitted to all IAEA inspections. Then there's the money. You've probably heard President Trump say something like this.
They put it into a plane, a Boeing 757 packed with cash, and they flew it to Iran, and they let these guys just, I don't know what the hell they did with it, but they took it and then gave them billions and billions of dollars and bribed them basically to be friends.
The facts are much different than what Trump is implying here. It is true that money did exchange hands between the United States and Iran, but that exchange had nothing to do with the JCPOA. The United States gave Iran about $400 million in cash in January of 2016, and then $1.3 billion in interest payment right around the same time the JCPOA was implemented. That's why it gets confused so often. But the payment, according to the Obama administration, was announced months earlier and was the result of an unrelated settlement reached between the U.S. and Iran after a decades-old failed weapons deal. And in case you didn't know, in the 1960s and early 1970s, Iran legally purchased a lot of weapons and military equipment from the United States. But after the Islamic Revolution in 1979, the U.S. cut off those purchases, even though Iran had already paid. The deal at the time called for the establishment of a tribunal to untangle all the money issues between the U.S. and Iran, and said those unspent Iranian funds that the United States was in possession of were supposed to be placed in an interest-bearing account. Well, in the 1980s, Iran tried to get its money back, and it took decades to negotiate a deal. And finally, in 2015, they still hadn't received their money, and Iran had had enough, and they asked the tribunal to hold hearings to get the money. And instead of the hearings, the Obama administration settled.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Again,
why would you negotiate? Why would you negotiate with 6-year-olds?
It was their money. It was their money.
Why would you negotiate? If you have a 6-year-old child in your house, you tell them to brush their teeth and they don't do it? What do you do about it? You can't negotiate with 6-year-olds. These are children. These are children.
These are not children. These are adults in the whole
they're
country.
not. No. These are
the people in Iran are all kids.
Not the people. The government. The people are fine. The governments are zealous.
Isn't run by children.
They will blow themselves up to prove a point.
Like, what are you talking about?
They're not children.
Mike, it was their money.
They're not.
It was their money. They agreed to buy.
We gave them money so they could enrich their uranium, so they could build nuclear bombs.
No, that's not true.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me.
Well, it makes you stole their money. They purchased planes. We did not deliver. We stole their money. We just gave them.
We should let them have nuclear weapons, right? Which every president for 25 years has said no.
Mike, we had a deal. They were not doing it. The regime.
Did you hear what I just said?
No, did you hear what I just said?
Did you hear what I said? Every president for the last 25 years has said Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. And yet we gave them money and we gave them yellow cake, which is the precursor to create nuclear weapons.
You have to have enriched nuclear. You have to have enriched.
And that's what they were doing before Trump blew it up. That's what Trump blew up.
Where are you getting your information from? Where are you getting your information from?
Reality.
Let's go.
Reality.
No, it's not reality. You don't know what you're talking about. That was their money.
Dr. Sims wants to say something. Dr. Sims wants to say something.
It was their money. I'm gonna let Dr.
Sims. I want to hear from Dr. Sims.
Well, I want you to shut up then. It was their money.
I'm shutting up for Dr. Sims.
Okay, it was their money. Get that through your head, Dr. Sims. Your mic is muted.
I heard a statement that money wasn't given back to them, but I'm reading an article that says $1.7 billion at one time was given to the Iranians. And that was during the period of Obama and Biden regime. And then there was another 1 point some odd billion dollars given to them that was put in a trust account, I guess, to gain interest or what have you. And I'm not going to talk politics, but I'm just seeing what I'm seeing. Now, I wanted to go back and I get the argument with the uranium and all that kind of stuff. I think a question was posed about and you can correct me if I'm wrong about being friends with our other foreign allies, but I wouldn't be friends with any of them. This is me personally, because we sit here and we do talk about what we feel we talk about. And I'm the kind of person, I want what's fair. I want, if we could in the future, bring out what some of the opposite side is saying verbatim, because there's a lot of misinformation I believe is going on, because I'm seeing the news of what I'm seeing, and you can't tell me not to watch this, because you're bringing inserts from other people who are able to stress what they stress, and I have to make the conscious decision on what I believe and what I don't want to believe. At this point, there's nothing I can do about anything, but we're talking and dialoguing, and it's causing distressors among individuals. I get what's going on. If you knew your Bible as you say you know it, you would know that this kind of going on, it is so. And I think it was mentioned earlier about the biblical days. We have to reflect to the scripture, because this is causing a great unrest with God's children. We're all supposed to be God's children. And my thing is this: I have to back up, because my peace was being totally disturbed by this stuff and the verbiage. And I believe I put on my site what is fair. I have to deal with what is fair. And we don't know the ins and outs of the strategic move of what is happening between countries, what is happening between states. We sit and we share what is fed to us. And that's a dangerous thing sometimes, because sometimes what's fed to us is intended to cause such an unrest. And I'm saddened, because sometimes a lot of people have ran with a lie. I'm not saying this panel, but I'm just saying the overall, sometimes people, they run with the lie because of the hatred that they have on the inside. And I have to go biblical. And you brought it up early about biblical. The Lord says to pray for your leaders. And I said this once before, that they can live peaceably with all men. But if we talk like we talk with each other, and I know we love each other, and I know at the end of this thing we'll be laughing, what have you. But this is an uneasy thing. This is an uneasy thing, because it causes unrest, and it's messing with, I'm not saying here, people's physical minds and their physical bodies, because they're not understanding the strategic ins and outs of what's going on in preventative measures for war. We know what we are fed. I wouldn't trust any of our allies. When God says for me to put my confidence in no flesh, that's exactly what he means. And so what's going to happen, it's going to happen. And so my thing is this, like I said, there's a whole lot of unfairness being shared and spewed out. You can't just see one side. Let's bring the other side, see what they're saying to counteract with this. And it's not fair. I mean, your thoughts are your thoughts, your feelings are your feelings. But for sake of a whole picture, put everything in its proper place. And this is my theory. Now, we were talking about money. We were talking about money early, and I need to reflect back on this. Money, I looked up something because I wanted to know how much money, because see, if you want to be real about the whole thing, you would allocate the time factor when we say, and I'm not for the Democrats and I'm not for the Republicans, I'm for fair, how many years the Democrats were in office and what had transpired during that time that they were in office. Money was being misappropriated, money was being allocated to fictional charities, and all these things were brought out. But nobody seems to care about the mishandling on that side. But because a hatred has been determined and given and spewed out with this one man, it's not fair, because if you look in the beginning of his regime, he tried to do the tariffs because we were being robbed blind. And they went against that. He was getting money for the country, for the United States.
That's not true, Dr. Sampson.
Well, can I finish my statement, please?
You can, but that's not true about the tariffs.
From what I'm understanding, and let me say from what I'm understanding, that was the aim, because we have been putting out so much money in all these other countries, they weren't paying their fair share. I'll say it that way. And then two, my thing is this, is that, we can't, we have given such a negative all the way across. And this is for everybody, because I think everybody who have been up in that upper echelon in the upper politic movement have to take some of the shift of the blame on the conditions of this state, period. And so I cannot sit here and blame one man. I will not. And my thing is because it's unfair. And especially because of what I'm in my walk with God, I have to stand on the principles of the word of God. And there's some things that God tells me not to even associate with, and that I will not do or conversate with, especially when I know who's in control. Now, I was talking about the money. Let me get to this real quick. So I do a breakdown because I thought, I says, wait a minute, there's a whole lot of stuff that was going on that I need to bring out to folks about where some of the money went in these charities, these fictitious charities that was allocated during their regime. And we're talking about the democratical regime. And I told you once before, I said, everybody's in this pot together. I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican. They all, and we can say what we want to say, but I believe this in my heart that they come to some kind of conclusion because there is a bigger picture that we cannot see. Now, here
Well, it's
in
7 o'clock, Dr. Sanders. Is it going to be long?
No, it's not. No, it's not. I need to read this because everybody has spoken their word. And so my thing is, I need to read this because there's a lot of funds that have been allocated so forth out of state into these, what they were called fictitious charities. So I need to read this. In January 2021 to January 2025, Americans donated an estimate of $2.25 trillion to charities. These are the monies that should have been put to our streets and our neighborhoods. And that was my whole thing when I looked this up. The record breaking figure tracked by the National Philip, I can't say philanthropic um, Trust charitable giving status was fueled by a robust stock market, economic recovery, and high level of individual philanthropy. I guess that's right. But in 2021, for 485 billion was given out in 2022, 499 billion in 2023, 457 billion was given out in 2024. And then it goes on. During the administration, contributions came for primary sources, individuals roughly 1.5 billion consistently make up about 66 to 68% of all giving foundations. $ 425 billion make up, it says, the 19.20 bequest estate, 195 billion making up 8.9 corporations, 160 billion making up 7.7%, I should have said. But this is the money that was allocation. And I was looking for the list that was established for all of these monies that was allocated, like learning a vow, changing a rat gender into being gay. All of these things. I'm looking at all this. Oh yeah, it was written and and I have to find it for you guys. And so what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, fair is fair, unfair is unfair. It is what it is. You can't hate a person. So, because if you hate somebody, you don't love God. Even if he's your enemy, the Lord tells you to love him, whether you like it or not. You're not above the Lord. Nobody here on this panel is. It is, period. It is what it is. What you feel is what you feel. And I get it. My thing is this, I was once feeling that, but the hatred part, and that's not a good thing, especially if you're telling someone what you believe. If you believe in such, God is a God of love. Yes, he's a God of wrath and he's a God of war. He will take care of what is necessary. All he told us to do was pray. That's what he told us, period. And if we can't do that, then there's an issue. Yeah, we can talk about it, but not to the point where you're so angry. And people, this is just not on this panel. It's all over the way. They're so angry. They want to fight and take people out and stuff like that. It is ridiculous. We know that there's enemies in other countries. We know that they don't like us. You know, their aim, as per they stated, they're coming over to change us. You know that they're barbaric. Let's face the facts. We see them murdering. We see it. They're disclosing that. children have bombs up on. They just bombed children here recently. These are all not fake news, but you want to say it's fake news when it comes to that. But real news over here. Let's be fair. Let's be fair.
Okay.
Period.
All right.
Put it on the table.
We got to
And
wrap
don't
this
tell
up right now.
somebody they don't know what they're talking about, because we
Right.
do.
Okay. Hey guys, thank you so much for your participation. Thank you, all of you guys. But personally, I'm not angry about anything. Well, I am angry about what the government is doing. This particular cabinet here right now. Yes, I'm angry about that. But we've got to wrap this up, guys. Thank you so much for your participation. We'll take this up next week and let's talk about it. We'll talk about it. All right.
Come on, Miss Cece's Kitchen. And you're supposed to be there with me Thursday. Love you, girl. Smile.
Love you too,
Amen.
lady. See you
Yeah.
Thursday.
We got two
All right, guys.
uncles coming on here, Tammy and Tabitha.
Oh,
And
they'll
make sure
both be there. Awesome.
I sent you the flyer, dear.
And make
Thank
sure you tune
you.
into.
Can I give a last statement here, real
Sure.
quick?
Go on.
Real quick. So I live in San Bernardino County, and I pay, like I said, 35% in taxes, and over 50% of the people that live in San Bernardino and Riverside County, which is known as the Inland Empire, over 50% live on some types of assistance programs. And yet I'm paying 35% in taxes. I just wanted to leave you with that.
Okay.
William, before we go, since he's made that particular statement, I went to Pew Research to look up some data, and these were characteristics of SNAP recipients for 2023. According to the data, there were, looks like 61.1% of the people who were getting SNAP benefits were white. 86.6% of the people getting SNAP benefits were born right here in the United States. So this isn't a matter of, I know you notice when the Black woman mentioned SNAP benefits, she wasn't necessarily talking about it for herself, just because it was a woman of color who said it.
I don't care your color.
I'm making sure we just have some more data out there, since we want to talk about who's getting what. But the majority of people getting food stamps, so they're called SNAP. It's the nice little term for it, but food stamps,
Shame on them too.
Which people like to use to degrade the folks who are getting it. The most of the people getting them are white. So when you're looking at creating laws and rules to roll back food stamps, just know that you're hurting people who look like you. Mostly, not people who are looking like me. I know that the stereotype is that it's Black people who are welfare queens, but we're not. We've done a whole lot of work to make sure that it's not us. As a matter of fact, Black women have more degrees in this country than any other demographic. So that doesn't mean that we don't care about other people and we're not willing to help people in need. But I just wanted to clear up the air about who's getting what. Anyway, thank you all so much for sticking with us. I know this was a rough one for the audience. You're welcome, Mike. Thanks to all of you. Please do tune in if you are so inclined next week, and we will try to do better in the Lord. But we hope
I love y'all.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna upset a whole bunch of people. I'm gonna upset a bunch of people because we're gonna talk about corruption in the White House. What's going on there? And make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in Thursday for Mad Mike and Wild Will Coast to Coast.
Bye, my friends.
Bye, y'all. Have a blessed
I
week.
appreciate you guys. I really do.
My pleasure, Mike.
Sharing is naturally a part of life when you love. Daring to open your heart to the one you dream of. Emotion plays a part when you learn each other's heart. Just to perceive becomes an art.